for the Quilt Group powered by EXP DoD Skill Bridge program. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Zuar Morales. I'm a licensed realtor on the island of Oahu, but I also serve the Big Island and looking to expand my operations across the entire island chain. I am a graduate of this program, so the Quilts asked me to stick around and help out by passing on words of wisdom and answering questions for you guys, having gone through this program within recent history, so that it eases that transition from military to full-time, maybe part-time realtor, and just bridging that gap, because there's a big shift getting out of the military and going into anything after all the training and just the lifestyle of being in the military. It's a big jump going into the next step, and real estate makes it an even bigger step for some if you're not prepared to go full steam ahead. So that's about me. And today we have Nick Warnoff. I don't know if he's in the crowd yet. Nick, are you here? Anyways, there he is. Thank you. So Nick just passed his exam and he just onboarded with EXP. So he's our newest agent at EXP. Nick, thanks for coming today. Just wanted you to share some words of wisdom about exam prep, licensing, and just any little nuggets that you have for people that are not at the point that you're at in their career.
Sure. So I used a couple of exam prep companies, and one of them was a total waste of money. And I don't want to bring up what that one was, but the other one was called Prep Agent, and it was awesome. The one that I went to, it was like an in-person boot camp, and it was an absolute waste of time. I actually left at lunch on the first day. It's supposed to be a 2-day course. And I straight up just went to lunch and didn't come back, and then called them and asked for my money back. The other one that I went to was Prep Agent. And that was after I left that one, I found Prep Agent online. It was cheaper and better. And I did the questions essentially. There was some study material, but it wasn't anything different than the course that you have to take for 3 months. And then I just kept taking the prep questions until I was getting consistently 90% on the practice tests. And then they give you a breakdown of what areas you need to study if you don't do well enough in that area. And so I'd go back and read up on what I missed, that kind of thing. But really it was just taking those tests over and over, because it teaches you to think like an agent. And you look at the questions and you may not know the answer verbatim, but you can reason through it and be okay, well, choice A is ridiculous. Choice B, not likely. Choice C sounds good. Choice D, not likely. I'm going to go with choice C. And you may not know the law, but you'll know what makes sense and what doesn't, enough so that when you actually go take the real test, it's not anything unreasonable. When I did take the test, I finished it in about an hour and a half. I think it's supposed to take 3 hours. I checked over my answers, didn't really miss anything, and walked out. Didn't even need to open the envelope. I was just that confident that I passed. It was almost exactly what Prep Agent had. It was almost the same questions exactly. So that's my biggest recommendation. As far as the classes go, I signed up for an online class. The thing that kind of threw me off was that there was a 3-month minimum requirement to take the classes. That was an absolute buzzkill for me, because I was just flying through the material. It wasn't that hard at all. I was actually a little worried after I finished. I was oh my God, that's all it takes to be a real estate agent? Jesus. I was kind of God, these people are in charge of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it's not that hard. You think about the training that goes to be required to be a stockbroker or a financial advisor. And it's actually you legitimately need a college degree. It's a very competitive field to be in, but you can go help out with somebody's biggest financial decision of their life with only like a weekend course and a quick education. It's not that hard. You don't even need a college degree. So it was a little alarming for me, but it is what it is. So yeah. Any other questions about getting, I guess, passing the test or anything?
Any questions, anyone?
Yeah, I asked, how long did you study for? I put it in the chat, but I figured I would just come up here.
Oh, sorry, I'm not seeing the chat just
you're
yet.
Good.
There it is. Okay. Yeah, I want to say like 3 days. Like I did the online test, and I did that, or I did the online course, and that took 3 months, and it probably took 3 nights out of my night. It probably took like 2 nights a week. So like 2 or 3 hours a night every week for 3 months. And after that, I feel like I had a pretty good understanding of the material. And then, I passed that course. The only reason it took me 3 months was because they actually had a limit on how quickly you could pass the classes. Like they would say, like, you can't take the final test yet. You haven't been in this course long enough. I would have gone through it much faster had they allowed it. It was not hard. Like it's literally just rote memorization. If you've been to college, if you showed up in high school and got a degree, like it's not hard, or you got your high school diploma and had higher than a C average, like you'll be fine. Let's see, after I passed the last test and got my certificate for the course, let's see, that was right after I got back from deployment. I started studying in earnest for the test probably a month before I took it. And like I said, I tried one prep course, didn't like it, asked for my money back. That was probably 2 weeks out before the actual exam. For the week of the actual exam, I took a few days off work. I took like 3 days off work before, and I literally just took the test was on a Saturday. I want to say that Thursday and Friday, I just crammed. I went probably 6-7 hours a day of just taking practice tests and then studying what I missed. And by the end of that 2 days, I was consistently getting over 90%, walked into the test, not worried about it.
Okay, thank you.
I think somebody.
Hey, Nick, what state did you get licensed?
California.
Okay, cool. Same here eventually, but good to hear.
Yeah, the cool thing about the California license is it carries over to like 17 other states, which is really cool. And a lot of those, I don't know if anyone here is into investing, a lot of those states that it carries over into are actually really good markets. So I thought that was pretty exciting, that if you get your license in California, you're also represented in, I think, Georgia and Florida, which are two of the best real estate markets in the country right now. So like if I'm buying a house, like say in Florida, for example, I can literally represent myself, or I can at least put it into the contract with the selling agent, like, hey, we're going to split commission on this. You can handle the paperwork in your state, because I don't really know what to do in your state. But I want, 1% commission or something like that, which is pretty cool about a California license.
That was actually going to be my next question, was what do you intend to do with your license now that you have it?
So I've been investing for about 2.5-ish years now. It's pretty awesome. If you have your VA loan, it's a great way to get started. Call me if you have any questions about like house hacking, VA house hacking, anything like that, how to leverage your benefits. It was life-changing money for me. Like I said, I started 2 years ago, and I'm making more money in investments now than I do in my like Navy job. It's pretty crazy. I think I make more money than my CO, which is awesome, but it's pretty satisfying. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing full time. Currently, I'm sitting in a 6-bedroom duplex that I'm still in the middle of fixing up. I don't know if you guys can see, like, there's like a missing outlet right there. Yesterday, I was repairing a microwave. I built a home gym in the backyard with AstroTurf. You know, it's always different. It's always exciting. Keeps me moving. Yeah, I'm always learning. That's another really cool thing. Earlier this week, I did a PowerPoint presentation on a market analysis to Chattanooga that, like, you know, 50 investors were looking at, and I'm going to partner with some of them on buying a property there. So it's both, it's mentally, you know, challenging. Like, I watched probably 2 hours of YouTube video to learn how a microwave works so I could fix it. And then I had to do a market analysis on Chattanooga, but it's also like up and moving, you know, which I really like. And it's a little creative too. It's fun to build an atmosphere that your friends are going to live in. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm sold on it. I love doing it. So that's what I plan on doing. Just keep the ball rolling when I move out and do that, or get out of the military and do that full time.
Nick, thank you so much for all that awesome information. Some
No
really
worries.
inspirational stuff for people to learn from, especially you myself. I personally only own the condo that we live in. I definitely want to get into investing in other properties, but I just haven't made the leap. But yeah, thank you for that. A couple of things I want to touch on that you talked about. So he's talking about how he's primarily going to be using it for his personal deals, which is awesome. With EXP, you can do 3 personal deals a year where EXP doesn't collect any fees or anything for that. And the only thing that they do collect, because it's not completely free, it's like $350. You can Google it. It changes like every month, but right now it's like $350. It's like the E&O, some other tax thing, and but very few other brokerages out there have a setup like that. And so up to three deals a year, you can do that. Most other brokerages, they'll charge you like at least 1%, sometimes maybe 2%. A good chunk of that will be your commission, but they're still taking a good chunk of what could be your profit. And then also what you mentioned about how easy it is to pass the exam and how scary it is knowing that there's people out there that they literally just pass the exam and that's all they know, is they don't have background information like you do, personal experience. It is scary, but it's also encouraging to everyone here, knowing how easy it can be to outshine your competition. And so if you do have experience, if you have bought a home or sold a home, if you know, maybe prior business or experience in the industry, how easy it can be to go from whatever you're doing in the military to a successful realtor, a successful real estate investor. So use that as inspiration, as you know, courage to fuel your whatever you're doing to prepare for the next phase in real estate. Like, know that you're in a good position. You're not you know, trying to catch up with folks that have been in the business for 10, 20. In the case of Hawaii, some people have been in the business for like 40 years and know the name of every single type of little detail in a house and every plant. And yeah, so you're not behind the curve. If you're hungry and you want to get after and be successful, you can do it. Yeah, thanks again, Nick. All right, so today we're going to be talking about 3 little golden nuggets of wisdom that you'll hear over and over again. I'm sure you've heard all 3 of these in the past, but they're very applicable in real estate. They're also very applicable in life in general. And so hopefully benefit from them. The first one is what you focus on expands. And so in real estate, if you're focusing on marketing and all you do is, you know, you make ads on Facebook, you post stuff on your social media, marketing local neighborhoods with postcards and magazines and all that stuff. And that's all you ever do is just make marketing. That's great, but you're not going to have any leads because you're not actually working on taking the fruit from that marketing effort and then turning it into an actual client that you can work with to buy or sell a property. So what you focus on expands. If you're focusing on negative stuff, like, oh, I'm reaching out to clients or leads, trying to convert them to be clients, everybody's a flake. Nobody responds to my text messages. I'm listening to what you're telling me to do of going through my phone contacts and just go A to Z and just contact people, and everybody's blowing me off. Like if you focus on the negative aspect of that negativity will grow throughout your entire life, and you're just going to burn out and become part of the next golden nugget that we're going to talk about, which is the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. So they say for realtors, 80% of realtors do not make it past their second or third year in the business. And so you got to ask yourself, how do I go from being on the 80% side of that to being on the 20%? How do I go from someone who just passed the test because I just happen to be a good test taker and I know nothing about real estate, I just know how to pass a test? How do I go from being that person who's not going to make it in the business because the moment they realize how hard it is to convert leads, they start flaking out and like, oh, I need to pay bills, I'm going to go get a job. How do you go from being that to being the 20% who's hungry, ready to succeed, ready to do whatever it takes, not whatever it takes, but you know what I mean, to build their business, to be successful? How do you do that? And that 80-20 principle not only applies to success rate of realtors, it applies to lead conversion. And it's actually probably a steeper percentage than that for lead conversion. For those of you that happened to sit in on the Monday morning mastermind yesterday, it was as always, some golden information. I know at first when I was going to those meetings, it was just stuff that was way over my head. All the language and everything, the resources they're talking about was just light years ahead of what I was working with, just trying to, figure out how to use the MLS. MLS is multiple listing service for those of you that haven't heard that term yet. And so I was just blown away by what they're talking about in there when I first started attending. And then after like a month or two, I had heard people talking about how valuable it was again. So I decided to jump in there, and every time I just walk away, just blown away by the information. But yeah, so yesterday they were talking about, one of the questions that somebody asked was, how do you improve your conversion of internet leads? And so that question was actually from someone who's asking on behalf of their team, who none of those members were actually on the Zoom meeting, which is like, if you want to be successful, you got to show up. But she was asking that question for her team so she could, send them the recording or something. So Dan Beers, the host of that particular show or that meeting, he asked her, so what's your current conversion rate? And she said hers was about 15% of internet leads she converts to actual clients. So you hear that and it's like, if I got 15% on a paper, or I got a 15% pass rating on my program inspection in the military, you're probably going to get fired, and you're probably going to get kicked out of school. Something bad's going to happen. But that just shows you, and then the even more surprising part is after she said that, he said, well, I just need to learn from you because that's an awesome conversion rate. So what does that tell you about this business? It's not easy. That 80-20 principle is real. And if you don't embrace that and see it as an obstacle that you're going to overcome, not as a big boulder that's about to fall on your head, and you get motivated by it and want to get after it, pass the test as soon as possible, learn about whatever niche you're going to jump into in the industry, then you will succeed. But if you're just taking your time, I just got about 5 months in the program, just going to study for an hour today and then go hang out with the boys. And then, maybe after that, I'll watch some YouTube videos. If you have that kind of approach, you can almost guarantee you're going to be on the 80% side of that 80-20 rule. And yeah, it's just amazing information in that meeting. And then she later on in that meeting, they went and talk about like all the different techniques that you can use to improve that conversion rate, from just building rapport with your clients, all that stuff. So combining those first two rules of what you focus on expands, and the 80-20. So if you focus on those on that conversion of on actually building those relationships with people, on, you know, actually helping them, providing value to them, showing them that you're more than just somebody that can pass the test, you're going to have a really good time in this business. And the last thing, so first person I heard this from was actually from Tasha. It wasn't her original idea. It's from, no, there's nothing new under the sun, but this is a really valuable piece of information that you can remind yourself, because when you're first starting out, it can be really overwhelming just thinking about all the stuff that there is to do, especially after you click submit on your EXP application, and then the next day your welcome to EXP email comes in. It's like, hey, here's these 50 different websites that you have to register with, and you have to register with the board of realtors, and you have to get MLS access, and then you start getting spammed by all these virtual assistants and marketing tools and so on and so forth. It can be pretty overwhelming. Like, all right, where do I start? Do I do everything all at once? Do I, buy an espresso machine and just not sleep and just work around the clock for an entire month to get this thing started? No, the answer to that, my recommendation is to focus on 1% better. And it sounds small, like 1% better. So if you're looking at it from a negative side, 99% not better. 1% better, just focus on one thing every day that you're going to you put on your calendar, put it on your schedule. I'm going to get this one thing done. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a task. It could be, I'm going to learn one thing about doing sub-2. I don't know anything about sub-2, but they're talking about it yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it's a valuable thing to jump into. I'm going to learn 1% about foreclosures, whatever it is. And after focusing on that 1% better every day, well, let's just say we're just focusing on work days, which work days, there's about 200 work days in a year. 200 days of 1% better, and at the end of the year, you're 200% better, compared to, all right, I got 50 things on my to-do list. I'm going to spend 10 minutes calling people. I'm going to spend 5 minutes following up with that person I talked to yesterday. I'm going to spend 30 minutes on my website. Like, you're going to end up getting halfway, maybe not even that. You're going to get to 10 a.m. and your stomach's going to start rumbling, and then you're going to go eat lunch, and then you're going to get sleepy after you eat lunch, and you're going to take a nap because you're just overwhelmed by all the stuff you're trying to do. But if you focus on 1% better, you'll get to the end of the week, the end of the month, year, and you'll see how much you've accomplished, and you'll be really satisfied and motivated to keep on going. All right, just looking at the chat box for comment. Someone read that book that preaches 1% better each day. Can't remember the title of the great book. Yeah, lots of great books out there on that, on 80-20 rule, on niches, focusing on what you focus on expands type thing. Do you have classes on 1031 exchange for the lift on Airbnb? No, I don't. But I bet so. There's nothing like I said. There's nothing new under the sun. Ryan, go ahead.
So I don't have anything class on a 1031 exchange, but I do want to share one thing that I was not informed about before. 1031 exchange is only possible if it's currently a rental. So if you have your primary residence, you can't, instead of selling it, you can't 1031 exchange your primary residence into a rental. It has to be a rental to a rental. Just throwing that out there.
Golden nugget. Any other questions?
Yeah, if you want a way around that to not pay taxes on the sale of your primary residence, a good way is to just hold it for 2 years. If you own a property for a property is your primary residence for 2 out of the last 5 years, you can sell it without any capital gains taxes, up to $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're married. So that's one way to get around the 1031 like properties requirement.
And if you're military, that goes up to 10 years, so 2 out of the last 10 years. And so for folks that are watching this interaction go on, if you network with folks, get together, have coffee, and make that a regular part of your day, or just go to the networking opportunities that are already in place, like the Monday morning mastermind. On Thursdays, there's the solo agent mastermind, and just share ideas with each other. Oh, hey, I was reading this, and I learned that with the VA loan, you can do up to a 4-unit property. Oh yeah, I heard that too, but I also heard that you have to have enough money in your bank account to cover 6 months in case the property isn't being rented. And all that knowledge will just come together, and you'll it's the power of the mastermind that's talked about in Think and Grow Rich, I believe. Yeah, I highly recommend reading that book. It's not the title of the book makes it seem like it's about just being greedy and having a lot of money, but it's about mindset and just having like a can-do attitude, having the never quit. I'm gonna make this happen type of attitude. And yeah, it's just a great book to read. That's really all I have for today, folks. I see Nicholas dropped his phone number and email in the chat box, so I highly recommend you take that down. You're also welcome to exchange ideas, communication in Slack. There's state channels. There's if you want to make a channel yourself, you're welcome to do that as well. Or if you don't have the ability, let me know, and I'll make the channel to where it's like real estate investing, communications, whatever. And so you guys can drop ideas in there and communicate with each other, ask questions. In the state channels, we try to keep it to state specific stuff. So California, you have to do like fingerprints and background check and blood test and DNA, all that other stuff. Just kidding about the last couple of things, but it's pretty ridiculous. In Hawaii, you don't have to do background check, anything. You just have to really just do the pre-licensing and pay $500. But for those of you who don't know anything about what I just said, highly recommend looking into what are going to be the prerequisites just to take the test, because you might be finding yourself at the end of the program just completing your pre-licensing, thinking you're about to jump right into real estate and start closing deals, and then you're going to get a nice little slam in the face saying, oh, you have to wait 3 months because you could have signed up for this test 3 months ago, but you were chilling, and now you have to wait 3 months to take your test. So having a good time studying for the next 3 months. All right. I'll stick around for a few more minutes if anyone wants to ask some questions as people are trickling out. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Aloha.
Yeah, I do have a question.